The streets of our cities are ruled by bloodthirsty gangs and violent criminals. Much of the crime wave is caused by drug dealers who, during the course of their lives, will kill an average of 500 American citizens. You people know that? 500. So one drug dealer over the course of his life or her life will kill 500 Americans. And I'm calling immediately for the death penalty for drug dealers and human traffickers, which will, upon its passage, reduce drug distribution and reduce crime in our nation by more than 75%. On one day, I was in China, and I met with President Xi, and I said to him, he thought probably somewhat naively, I was a little bit embarrassed, 1.5 billion people. He's president for life, just got president for life. I called him the king. I said, King, what do you think? No, I am not the king. I said, you're president for life, therefore you're the king. But I got along with him well until COVID. Then I said, forget it. Once COVID, the China virus came in, I said, forget it. But I said to him, do you have a drug problem in China, 1.5 billion people? He said, no drug problem. He didn't even know what the hell I was talking about. I said, well, why don't you have a drug problem? Death penalty, immediate. We have quick trial. What's a quick trial? A quick trial is they catch the drug dealer, and within a period of 48 hours, the trial is over. And if he's guilty, unfortunately, they have no choice. They use the death penalty. And you know what happened? They have literally no problem. No problem. We would have the same, if we had a meaningful penalty, death penalty. It's not something I want to talk about, but somebody has to. You would stop crime and drugs in this country immediately without all of this nonsense. Right now, if you get caught, they give you a jail for a half a day. They don't do anything. You would have a meaningful. So he said to me, no, we have no problem whatsoever. And when I said why, I sort of understood why. And you take a look at Singapore and other countries, wherever they have this, they have absolutely no drug problem. America needs to understand that the time to stand up to this growing left-wing tyranny is right now. You have to stand up right now. If you want to save your rights and liberties, you have to start by dealing a humiliating rebuke to the radical left maniacs that are running in this election. And you have a lot of them. Marco has one of them as his opponent, in my opinion. I don't want to hurt her feelings, but that's my opinion. Marco, is that your opinion too? Marco doesn't want to be too controversial. Marco says yes. It's his opinion, you better believe it. This Tuesday, you have to crush the communists at the ballot box. I don't say socialists anymore. I don't say socialists anymore. Fake dossier that was done and paid for by crooked Hillary Clinton, the Democrat National Committee, and the Democrat Party. I didn't care about 99% of it, but there was one thing here that I said, this is not going to play well with the First Lady. And it turned out to be a total fake. The whole thing was made up. And it's a disgrace what's happened to our country. This was presented to me by the FBI, Comey, a bad guy who lied to Congress, did a lot of bad things. And I only wish that Bill Barr had the guts to do the job he should have done. He didn't have the guts to do the job he should have done. You know, they said they were going to impeach him, and he told me, sir, they're going to impeach me. They're going to impeach me. I said, what's wrong with that? I got impeached twice. My poll numbers went up. But he said, they're going to impeach me, sir. And you remember, he was very much, in favor of looking into the whole thing with the election fraud. He was a big believer. You look at his statement. All of a sudden, he says, I didn't see anything wrong. Oh, really? Take a look at Detroit. Take a look at Detroit. Take a look at Philadelphia. Take a look at Pittsburgh. Take a look at practically any place. Take a look. All of a sudden, he couldn't find anything. Oh, nothing happened. The U.S. attorney in Philadelphia wrote me a letter complaining that Barr wouldn't let him do his job. He ran for governor. He got killed because of that. Barr wouldn't let him do his job. We need people with courage and guts. He didn't want to be impeached. By the way, from that standpoint, it worked out very well for him, because they said, anybody that's so stupid to think that there wasn't fraud in this election, we're going to leave him alone. And they did. They never thought about impeaching him again, but they were going to impeach him. And then I see him all over television. We need strong people. We need people with courage and guts, or this movement is going to overtake us. This movement is going to overtake us. You know what this represents? Watermelon head. So I said watermelon head. And people said, that's not a nice thing. They said, this guy tried to destroy a lot of very good people. He's a bad guy. He's a crooked person. He made a speech on the perfect phone call I made to the Ukrainian president. It was a perfect call. And he made a speech, and he imitated what I said. And I said, that's not what I said. It bore no relationship. And then we produced, fortunately, a transcript of the exact call, right down to the word. Right down to the word. And he sort of slinked back. And I said, this is great. We're going to sue his ass off. And you know what he said? They said to me, sir, if you lie in the United States Congress, you can't be sued. You're immune. So the speech he made was total, you know what? I won't use it because my wife always says, darling, don't use the word. So I'm not going to use it. Tell her, First Lady. She said, don't use that word. She said, please don't use that word, so I didn't. Russia. Ukraine. The Mueller witch hunt where the conclusion was no collusion. Do you think Biden can say that? Think of that. Do you think Biden can say that? I don't think so. And impeachment hoax number one. Impeachment hoax number two. They went after a guy named Roger Stone, who's sitting in the office. Come here, sit down. Look at this. Wow. And right now, he's cleaner than anybody in this place. No, they treated him very unfairly. And I'll say this in front of Roger. He's no baby. His wife knows that. His wife is better than he is, by the way. But she knows that better than anybody. Thank you, darling, for being here. It's very nice. No, I see him sitting here. I like them. They're great. But they treated him very unfairly. What they did was so unfair. Just last week, at her request, a radical left lunatic judge named Engoron. This is a lunatic. This is a guy that hates Trump so much he actually ran a newspaper about Trump, how much he hates. And he's allowed to make a decision on me? Engoron. Study the name, watch the name. He's a lunatic. Started a process of property confiscation akin to Venezuela, Cuba, or the Soviet Union. We appreciate, actually, for a change, the Wall Street Journal actually got it right. They got it right. They said, this can't happen in this country. Likewise, a local left-wing DA in Atlanta is after me for an absolutely perfect phone call. I think even more perfect than my perfect phone call to Ukraine. This was just a cabal. This was just a group of people where Crazy Nancy Pelosi, by the way, how's she doing lately? How's she doing? Where Crazy Nancy Pelosi has the votes. And they never, you know, one thing I have to say, and I'm speaking to mostly Republicans, and they said, does that mean that you're not going to arrest it? That's what it means. If you're delinquent, real estate term, if you're delinquent, you don't get protection. So he said, you mean if Russia came and attacked us, you will not protect us if we don't pay? That's right, exactly right. You understood it. The next day, like $400 billion came in. It was rather amazing. Now, if I would have done the typical political thing, no, we'll always protect you, I promise. What's the purpose of their paying? They wouldn't pay. Marco knew about that. I talked to Marco about that. He understood it better than anybody. That's being dissipated, and we're almost empty, and it's not supposed to be used for that. It's supposed to be used for military emergencies, real big, not for getting the price of gasoline down so that people can get a couple of more votes in an election, which is what they're doing. But starting on the 9th, that ends, your prices are going to go through the roof. Just like your turkey prices are gone. Don't expect a turkey on Thanksgiving. Number one, you can't get them. Number two, if you can get them, you're going to pay 3 times more than you did last year. So somebody would say, oh, good, well, we'll get ham. That's 2.5 times more. I think what you do I don't know what you do, but what's happened to our country is unthinkable. History, you got to get Mitch McConnell to be a lot tougher. Mitch McConnell. You can have Mitch McConnell and his wife Coco Chow. You can have them both. Completely. I have a little development in, they call it Little Venezuela, Doral. Did anybody ever hear of Doral? Country club. And they are the greatest people. We're surrounded by so many Venezuelans. Actually, I think I'm in Venezuela whenever I go there. But it's such an incredible, prosperous community. The people are incredible, just absolutely incredible. I call it a great location because the people make it a great location. Venezuela and so many. We'll probably have to do it again, but stay tuned. That's pretty good. Thank you. Stay tuned to tomorrow night in the great state of Ohio. Stay tuned. We have a big rally there for JD. We have a big rally. Stay tuned tomorrow night in Ohio. Man who's a fantastic person, gets a little bit controversial on occasion, but I will tell you, there's nobody better than this guy. He's been through a lot. And the word that we can't say, I'm not going to say, but he went through things that having to do with that. It was terrible the way he got treated. He's so tough. He's so strong. And everybody stayed with him. He's smart, and he loves this state, and he loves this country. Matt Gaetz. And a man who I just happened to catch about half of his speech. I got in, and I said, "Who's ripping it up there?" And it was a person named Don Trump Jr. And he's great. And he's great. You know, I have to tell this one story because he's sitting here, so I can tell. He's probably heard me tell it a couple of times, not much. But to show you how evil these people are. So Don went to great school. He went to the Wharton School of Finance, all this stuff, good student. He was great. He was no problem whatsoever. He's just a good young guy. And I decided to go into politics. I said, you know, life is too good. Everything's perfect. Let's screw up your life a little bit, okay? And so I take my family along with me. And, you know, they've really suffered when you think of it. But they don't have any second questions or doubts because we have done so much for this country and we can do more. We're going to do a lot more. It's always nice to be liked. Oh, did you see the poll that just came out? Women love Trump again. Did you see that? Just came out. I have to, you know, I have to interject every once in a while. I have to, you know what they'll say? He was on different subjects. Nobody can do what I do. I go here, I go there, and always get back to the right subject. A guy named Burr, he always liked me, and I thought, I got him elected because when I won, I carried him over the line. Lousy politician from a great state, North Carolina. And all of a sudden he went bad, but they had him on something like insider trading. And there are those people that think he made a deal to get out of his problem on insider trading by going after Trump because he changed. But you know what happened? Marco Rubio happened. And Marco Rubio said, Donald Trump did absolutely nothing wrong. And if I did, he would not say that. And I won't forget that. And he became chairman. Marco became chairman when he said it. And Burr always liked me. You know, I heard just last night, they said, Burr really liked you a lot, but he had no choice. He wanted to save his ass, okay? He wanted to save his ass, so he maybe made a deal. Of course, I say maybe because this way it's a little easier. Maybe made a deal, but I have a feeling that that could have happened. Up and down the ballot, Republican, and we're going to end Crazy Nancy Pelosi's political career once and for all. Once and for all. Under Biden, Pelosi, Schumer, and the radical Democrat Congress, Florida workers and families are under siege. We have a feisty crowd today, Marco. We have a feisty.